The Resilience Engineers, turning failures and setbacks into competitive advantages. Let me tell you about the moment that transformed James Morrison from a broken entrepreneur into what his industry now calls an unstoppable force. It was September 3rd, 2023, and James was sitting in what used to be his company's headquarters, surrounded by empty desks and cardboard boxes. His tech startup had just collapsed after 3 years of work, $200,000 of his savings, and the trust of 12 employees who had believed in his vision. Most entrepreneurs would see this as the end. James saw it as raw material. Within 18 months of that devastating failure, he had not only rebuilt his career but had become the go-to consultant for struggling startups, earning $400,000 annually by teaching other entrepreneurs how to engineer resilience into their businesses and mindsets. What James discovered wasn't about avoiding failure or pretending setbacks don't hurt. He learned what Napoleon Hill called the resilience engineering method, the systematic approach to transforming failures, setbacks, and obstacles into competitive advantages that make you stronger than you were before the crisis hit. Tonight, you're going to learn the exact system James used to not just bounce back from failure, but to use that failure as the foundation for building something even more successful. This isn't about positive thinking or motivation. This is about systematically engineering your mind and approach to extract maximum value from every setback. The collapse of James's company, TechFlow Solutions, wasn't sudden. It was a slow-motion disaster that unfolded over 6 months. What started as a promising software startup had gradually revealed fundamental flaws in the business model, the market timing, and James's own leadership abilities. "I thought I was building the next big thing," James later reflected, "but I was actually building the next expensive lesson." The signs had been there for months. Customer acquisition costs that kept rising, a product that solved a problem people didn't know they had, and a team that was working harder but achieving less. James had ignored these warning signs, convinced that persistence alone would overcome the problems. When the final investor meeting ended with polite rejections and empty promises to stay in touch, James knew it was over. He had burned through his savings, maxed out credit cards, and borrowed money from family. Worse, he had to lay off 12 people who had trusted him with their careers. "That night, I sat in my empty office and felt like the biggest failure in business history," James recalled. "I couldn't see how this disaster could ever become anything positive." The turning point: 3 weeks after the collapse, James was at a coffee shop when he overheard a conversation that would change his perspective entirely. 2 entrepreneurs at the next table were discussing their own failures. One had lost a restaurant business, the other had been fired from a CEO position he had fought to obtain. But instead of dwelling on the pain, they were analyzing what they had learned and how those lessons were now giving them advantages in their new ventures. They talked about failures as business school tuition and setbacks as competitive intelligence that their competitors hadn't paid to acquire. That's when James met Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a business psychologist who had spent 15 years studying how successful entrepreneurs responded to failure. She introduced him to what she called resilience engineering. "Most people see failure as evidence of inadequacy," Dr. Rodriguez explained. "But resilience engineers see failure as raw data about what doesn't work, which is actually more valuable than knowing what does work, because it prevents them from making the same mistakes twice." The 5 resilience engineering principles. Dr. Rodriguez engineering principles. Dr. Rodriguez awato we klidmingdol we spuns then fistat the tube we sonish to begun. Rodriguez taught James that engineering resilience required 5 systematic approaches. Principle 1: failure forensics. Instead of avoiding analysis of failures, resilience engineers conduct detailed forensics to extract maximum learning value from every setback. Principle 2: adaptive reconstruction. Rather than returning to previous approaches after failure, resilience engineers use setback data to build stronger, more adaptive systems and strategies. Principle 3: competitive immunity. Resilience engineers develop immunity to common business and career failure patterns by experiencing them in controlled ways first. Principle 4: antifragile positioning. Instead of just recovering from setbacks, resilience engineers position themselves to become stronger and more capable because of the challenges they face. Principle 5: experience asset creation. Resilience engineers systematically convert their failure experiences into valuable assets. Knowledge, relationships, credibility, and opportunities that give them competitive advantages. James's 18-month resilience engineering process. Under Dr. Rodriguez's guidance, James systematically engineered his resilience and rebuilt his career. Month 1-3, Failure Forensics Deep Dive. James began with what Dr. Rodriguez called emotional archaeology, systematically examining the failure without judgment or defensiveness. He created detailed timelines of decisions, identified critical turning points, and analyzed where his assumptions had been wrong. Instead of glossing over painful details, he forced himself to understand exactly how and why things had gone wrong. "I discovered that my failure wasn't one big mistake," James explained. "It was a series of small decisions based on false assumptions. Once I mapped those patterns, I could see how to avoid them in the future." The forensics process revealed 3 critical failure patterns. He had built solutions looking for problems instead of solving known problems. He had confused activity with progress, working hard on low-impact activities. He had avoided difficult conversations that could have prevented larger problems. Month 4-6, Adaptive Reconstruction. Instead of trying to restart his previous business, James used his failure analysis to design completely new approaches to entrepreneurship. He developed what he called failure-proof business design, methodologies for testing assumptions quickly and cheaply before committing significant resources. He created systems for getting honest feedback early in the process and protocols for making difficult decisions before they became catastrophic. James also reconstructed his personal operating system. He developed new habits for decision-making, new approaches to risk assessment, and new methods for building teams and managing resources. Month 7-9, Competitive Immunity Building. James began deliberately exposing himself to smaller, controlled failures to build immunity to future setbacks. He started multiple small projects with the explicit goal of testing new approaches and learning from quick failures. He pitched business ideas to investors specifically to practice handling rejection. He volunteered to lead challenging projects where failure was likely but contained. "I realized that most entrepreneurs fail because they're afraid of failure," James noted. "I decided to become failure-proof by failing faster and cheaper than my competition." Month 10-12, Antifragile Positioning Development. James began positioning himself to benefit from industry challenges and economic turbulence rather than just surviving them. He specialized in helping struggling businesses turn around their operations. He developed expertise in crisis management and failure recovery. He built networks of other failure survivors who could collaborate on opportunities that emerged during difficult times. When the economy hit a rough patch, James was ready to help companies navigate challenges that would devastate unprepared competitors. Month 13-18, Experience Asset Monetization. James systematically converted his failure experience into valuable business assets. He began consulting for startups, teaching them how to avoid the mistakes he had made. He developed courses on failure-proof business planning and resilience engineering for entrepreneurs. He wrote articles about business failure recovery that established him as an expert in the field. His failure story became his greatest professional asset, giving him credibility and expertise that successful entrepreneurs couldn't match. The Resilience Engineering Framework. Through studying James's transformation and working with hundreds of other professionals facing setbacks, Dr. Rodriguez developed a comprehensive framework for engineering resilience. Phase 1, Immediate Crisis Stabilization. When facing major setbacks, the first priority is psychological and practical stabilization. Emotional regulation techniques to prevent panic-driven decisions, resource assessment to understand actual versus perceived damage, support system activation to prevent isolation during crisis, basic needs security to maintain stability during recovery. Phase 2, Analytical deconstruction, systematic analysis of the failure to extract maximum learning value. Timeline reconstruction of events leading to the setback decision pattern analysis to identify systematic errors. Assumption testing to understand which beliefs were incorrect. Environmental factor assessment to distinguish controllable from uncontrollable elements. Phase 3. Adaptive redesign, using failure data to build better systems and approaches. Process redesign based on discovered weaknesses. Decision-making protocol improvement to prevent repeated errors. Risk management system enhancement for future challenge preparation. Skill development in areas revealed as deficient. Phase 4. Resilience testing, deliberately exposing yourself to controlled challenges to build anti-fragile capacity. Controlled failure practice in low-risk environments. Stress testing new approaches under challenging conditions. Recovery protocol, development for future setbacks. confidence building through successful challenge navigation. Phase 5, competitive advantage creation, converting experience into assets that provide marketplace advantages. Expertise development in challenge areas that limit others' credibility, building through demonstrated recovery capability. Network development with others who have survived similar challenges. Knowledge monetization through teaching, consulting, or content creation. Real-world resilience engineering applications. Case Study 1. The failed restaurant owner Maria Santos lost her first restaurant to poor location choice and cash flow problems. Using resilience engineering, forensics analyzed exactly why the location failed and where cash flow went wrong. Reconstruction. Developed systematic approaches for location analysis and financial management. Immunity. Started food truck business to test markets with lower risk. Antifragile. Specialized in helping other restaurants avoid her mistakes. Asset creation. Became a restaurant consultant earning $120,000 annually. Result: from restaurant failure to successful consulting business and eventual restaurant chain owner. Case Study 2. The fired executive David Kim was terminated from a VP position due to leadership conflicts and poor team performance. His resilience engineering approach, forensics, conducted 360-degree feedback analysis to understand leadership blind spots. Reconstruction developed new management style based on failure analysis. Immunity took on difficult turnaround assignments to practice new approaches. Antifragile specialized in fixing dysfunctional teams and toxic workplace cultures. Asset creation built executive coaching practice focused on leadership recovery. Result: from career setback to $300,000 annual coaching practice and multiple board positions. Case Study 3. The investment loss survivor Jennifer Walsh lost $150,000 in a real estate investment that went bad due to market timing and inadequate research. Her recovery strategy, forensics, analyzed every aspect of the failed investment decision. Reconstruction developed comprehensive investment analysis protocols. Immunity made smaller investments to test new decision-making systems. Antifragile became expert at identifying distressed investment opportunities. Asset creation created investment education business teaching others to avoid her mistakes. Result: from major investment loss to successful real estate investment firm with 2 M's under management. The psychology of resilience engineering. Napoleon Hill understood that resilience isn't just about recovery, it's about transformation. Growth through adversity. Resilience engineers recognize that significant growth often requires significant challenges. They actively seek appropriate levels of challenge rather than avoiding all risk. Learning orientation versus performance orientation. While most people focus on performing well to avoid failure, resilience engineers focus on learning rapidly so they can handle increasingly complex challenges. Long-term versus short-term thinking. Resilience engineers are willing to accept short-term discomfort and setbacks in exchange for long-term capability development and competitive positioning. Advanced resilience engineering techniques. For those ready to master sophisticated resilience approaches, advanced practitioners use these techniques. Preemptive failure planning, systematically identifying potential failure modes and developing response protocols before crises occur. Stress inoculation training, deliberately exposing yourself to controlled stress and failure to build tolerance and response capability. Anti-fragile investment strategy, positioning resources and capabilities to benefit from volatility and disruption rather than just surviving them. Network resilience building, developing relationships with others who have survived significant challenges and can provide support during future difficulties. The daily resilience practice. Building resilience engineering capability requires consistent daily practices. Morning challenge assessment, review potential risks and challenges for the day, activate appropriate resilience protocols for anticipated difficulties, set learning objectives for challenging situations, prepare mentally for using setbacks as growth opportunities. Real-time resilience application. Practice reframing setbacks as learning opportunities during the day, apply systematic analysis to small failures as they occur, use challenge moments to test and strengthen resilience capabilities, maintain long-term perspective during short-term difficulties. Evening resilience review. Analyze the day's challenges for learning extraction. Document successful resilience strategies for future reference. Identify areas where resilience capability needs strengthening. Plan skill development activities based on challenge experiences. Common resilience engineering mistakes. Many people undermine their resilience development through these errors. Mistake 1. Avoiding failure analysis, refusing to examine failures closely because the analysis is emotionally painful, missing valuable learning opportunities. Mistake 2. Returning to previous approaches, going back to the same strategies that led to failure, instead of using setback data to build better approaches. Mistake 3. Isolation during recovery, withdrawing from others during challenges, instead of leveraging support systems and learning from others' experiences. Mistake 4. Perfectionism after failure, trying to avoid all future failures, instead of building capacity to handle them more effectively. Mistake 5. Wasting experience assets, failing to convert failure experiences into valuable expertise, credibility, and competitive advantages. The resilience engineering mindset shifts. Successful resilience engineering requires fundamental mindset transformations. From victim to engineer, instead of seeing yourself as victim of circumstances, recognize yourself as engineer capable of building solutions to any challenge, from problem avoider to problem solver. Rather than trying to avoid all problems, develop confidence in your ability to solve whatever problems arise. From failure fear to failure curiosity, transform fear of failure into curiosity about what failures can teach and how they can be leveraged for growth. From stability seeking to anti-fragile building, move from seeking stable, predictable environments to building capability that thrives on challenge and change. Building your resilience engineering capability. Developing systematic resilience requires structured approach. Week 1-4, Current Challenge Assessment. Identify your current resilience patterns and capabilities. Analyze past setbacks for learning extraction opportunities. Assess your support systems and resource access during difficulties. Establish baseline measurements for resilience development. Week 5-12, Systematic Learning Integration. Implement daily practices for extracting learning from small challenges. Develop protocols for analyzing setbacks without emotional overwhelm. Practice reframing techniques for converting problems into opportunities. Build networks with others who have strong resilience capabilities. Week 13-24, Controlled Challenge Exposure. Deliberately seek appropriate levels of challenge for capability building. Practice new resilience techniques in low-risk environments. Test your recovery protocols through controlled setback experiences. Build confidence in your ability to handle increasing levels of difficulty. Week 25-36, Antifragile Positioning Development. Position yourself to benefit from industry challenges and economic difficulties. Develop expertise in areas where others struggle due to lack of experience with challenges. Create value from your experience with setbacks and recovery. Build businesses or career approaches that strengthen during turbulent times. Your resilience engineering revolution. James Morrison's transformation from failed entrepreneur to resilience expert wasn't about avoiding future failures. It was about building systems that could turn any failure into competitive advantage. The resilience engineering approach he mastered isn't about being stronger or tougher than others. It's about being systematically better at learning from setbacks, adapting to challenges, and converting adversity into assets. Every professional faces setbacks. Every entrepreneur encounters failures. Every career includes disappointments and challenges. The difference between those who are stopped by setbacks and those who are strengthened by them isn't natural resilience, it's systematic resilience engineering. Your current challenges aren't evidence of inadequacy, they're raw materials for competitive advantage. Your past failures aren't sources of shame, they're specialized knowledge that your competitors haven't paid to acquire. The choice is yours. Will you continue seeing setbacks as obstacles to overcome? Or will you start engineering resilience systems that convert every challenge into competitive advantage? The framework exists, the principles are proven, the techniques are documented. The only variable is your commitment to building systematically, rather than just hoping to avoid future difficulties. Like this video if you're ready to engineer resilience and turn your setbacks into competitive advantages. Subscribe to this channel for continued resilience and mental toughness development. Comment below with your biggest current challenge. Let's engineer your resilience together. Remember, the goal isn't to avoid failure. It's to become anti-fragile, getting stronger with every challenge you face. Start engineering your resilience today.